Hello, I'm Dorian Marin. I recently converted or finished my conversion process back in August for the Beit Din. Rabbi Klein oversaw my mikvah immersion, so it's very special that he gets to be here and very special for me that I get to be in a room full of rabbis as well. Um, my conversion process was a little bit different, I feel like, because I started it in Tennessee, which is where I lived for 10 years of my life up until last March when I moved here. My best friend, one of my best friends in Tennessee, her family is from Israel and recently moved back. And when I became friends with her, I really got immersed in Judaism from like being around her family and learning. And it was something that I thought was like really like attractive to me and interesting and that I wanted to learn more about. But Tennessee is also a very, very, very Christian heavy region of the country. And so there wasn't a lot that I could do to learn about it other than just being around her family. I grew up non-denominational Christian and went to a Southern Baptist church, which was not the best place for me to be as a transgender person. And so once I eventually left the church, I was really looking to like fill this hole in my heart because I knew that I still wanted to have a relationship with God and with religion, and I still wanted to have a community in that. And so I looked to my friend and I was like, all of the things that I know about Judaism are things that I really, really love and find interesting. So I want to learn more and maybe take steps to converting. And so after a few months of like researching and learning, I finally made the decision to convert after my grandmother on my dad's side of the family let it slip that she grew up Jewish and then assimilated into a Christian lifestyle. And so after that point, I really knew that I wanted to convert, but the only spaces around me in Tennessee were a Reform temple and a Orthodox temple. And I'm like, I'm not sure how accepting an Orthodox temple would be, so I'm going to go to the Reform one. I spent a few months there learning with the rabbi and having meetings and going over what the conversion process would look like, and then decided to move to California. And immediately once I got here, I was like, this is very important to me. I need to like continue this process, pick up right away. And so I got into contact with the rabbi in Riverside, Rabbi Susan Singer, and um, I met with her, went over my like process so far, and she's like, "Who's the rabbi at the synagogue you were going to?" And I told her, and she's like, "I went to college with that rabbi." So it was really, really easy for her to get into contact and like kind of pick up a path for me that would work so that it would be less of a I have to start over completely in this new place and I can just pick up where I left off and continue as follows. A lot of the things that I love about Judaism are very like affirming of my gender identity, like the fact that there are like I can wear a kippah in spaces and people will be like, that's a male thing to do, so you're male. It's really like affirming to me to be able to have that, and it makes me more motivated to be more like outwardly and proud about my Jewish identity. Um, a lot of the things about the conversion process that were scary for me or that I didn't really like, I wasn't looking forward to, were all directly tied to the fact that I'm transgender. And like circumcision conversations, I was like, that's something that I want to have a part in. However, I don't have the parts for circumcision. But I was able to do a Hafat Tadam, which was very special to me. In my emails back and forth with the Moyle who did it, I completely forgot to mention that I was transgender. So I got to his house and I was like, hey, I thought I said this in my initial email to you. I did not. I am transgender. I hope that's okay and that we can still do this. And he was chill about it. He's like, that's probably something that should have been mentioned. However, we can like continue this for your process. And that was wonderful to me. Another thing that was super scary for me was going to the mikvah, because like being perceived in any way was like terrifying to me at that point in my life. However, I saw the mikvah, like went into the mikvah before I had my Beit Din, and I was like, oh, it's not going to be bad at all. And so like for me, the biggest struggle was having these things that I had to come to terms with about like my gender identity, and then having to reconcile those things. And then having those things happen and be like, oh, that actually wasn't so bad for me. However, I can't speak for how all trans people would be on this, because I'm an individual and everyone has their own experience.